Yo, I apologize for taking so long. I had to use the restroom. But I am here. And I will be reading Lord of the Rings. I just want to figure out where to put this thing. I have no idea where to put it. I've been trying to figure out like a great place to put it so that you can see everything. But I kind of feel like that's impossible. Maybe this would. Mikey, what are you doing? I'm also getting my cat's giving me stink eyes. I don't know what's up with him. Like we used to go on daily walks, and now he doesn't want to go outside, and I don't know what to do with this kid because he's got energy, no place to go, nowhere to take it. I'm just not sure. You know, he can do whatever he wants. So really quickly, I'm gonna light these candles, and then I will probably get started with my reading. This is something that I started doing recently, so we're still early in the series. I think we're in chapter 4? Chapter 4 or 5. I had actually been doing it a little while ago. Let's put it right here, maybe. But, at some point, I stopped because I got stuck on the gotcha. And now I'm trying to do it again because I think it's actually good for you. I know a lot of people don't read. And I think that's kind of a shame. So I figured if I could, I would do some reading for them. So we've got this big boy. This is all 3 of the Lord of the Rings books. It's not as big as most people think. Like every single what are they called? Every single Game of Thrones book is about this size. Every Wheel of Time book is about this size. Some are even bigger. Some are huge. Like Brandon Sanderson books are fucking massive. Every single book is like the same size as all 3 of the Lord of the Rings books combined. But yeah, anyways, let me get my cat up because he just went into his little cat carrier. He may be joining us. Blind Guardian mentioned what? Who's the Blind Guardian? I don't know who that is. Oh no. There's a tear in my book. I was just talking about books. Lord of the Rings. So, but we're gonna be reading. Okay, so yeah, we are on chapter 4. Be very careful, that's hot. Be very careful, kiddo. That's very hot. I'm assuming Blind Guardian is Armored Core. Oh, a banned Wheel of Time is one of the... Oh. I wonder if they named that album after the book series, or if it was just a coincidence. I don't know Blind Guardian I don't think I know Blind Guardian at all, actually, so I wouldn't know if they are from that or not. So, I've been delaying long enough. This was really the whole reason I'm doing this, was just to read. If you guys want to listen to me as I read, you feel free. And if you're not interested, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's the whole reason I'm doing this on Wednesday. What are you doing, kiddo? Daiki. Daiki, hey, what are you doing? He has been a troublemaker. Okay, I guess he's not interested in being around here. In the morning, Frodo woke refreshed. He was lying in a bower made by a living tree with branches laced and drooping to the ground. His bed was of fern and grass, deep and soft and strangely fragrant. The sun was shining through the fluttering leaves, which were still green upon the tree. He jumped up and went out. Sam was sitting on the grass near the edge of the wood. Pippin was standing studying the sky and weather. There was no sign of the elves. "They have left us food and drink, and bread," said Pippin. "Come and have your breakfast. The bread tastes almost as good as it did last night." I did not want to leave you any, but Sam insisted. Frodo sat down beside Sam and began to eat. "What is the plan for today?" asked Pippin. "To walk to Buckleberry as quickly as possible," answered Frodo, and gave his attention to the food. "You think we shall see any of those riders?" asked Pippin cheerfully. Under the morning sun, the prospect of seeing a whole troop of them did not seem very alarming to him. "Yes, probably," said Frodo, not liking the reminder. "But I hope to get across the river without their seeing us." "Did you find anything about them from Gildor?" "Not much. Only hints and riddles," said Frodo evasively. "Did you ask about the sniffing?" "We didn't discuss it," said Frodo with his mouth full. "Should have. I am sure it's very important." "In that case, I am sure Gildor would have refused to explain it," said Frodo sharply. "And now leave me in peace for a bit. I didn't want to answer a string of questions while I'm eating. I want to think." "Good heavens," said Pippin. "At breakfast?" He walked away toward the edge of the green. From Frodo's mind, the bright morning, treacherously bright, he thought, had not banished the fear of pursuit, and he pondered the words of Gildor. "You finally got Sir Kret. 60 pulls. I suppose that's not bad. 60 pulls for a character. I've taken over 200 for some characters. It's not always good. Where was I? Ah, the merry voice of Pippin came to him. He was running on the green turf and singing. "No, I could not," he said to himself. "It is one thing to take my young friends walking over the Shire with me, until we are hungry and weary and food and bed are sweet. To take them into exile, where hunger and weariness may have no cure, is quite another. But if they are willing to come, the inheritance is mine alone. I don't think I ought even to take Sam." He looked at Sam Gamgee and discovered that Sam was watching him. Ah, so basically after that you are guaranteed the character. I do like that. Like, I hate some of the other ones where the poll is wait a second, let me lost it. There we go. Where they do have a poll and it's like, even if they have the guaranteed 5-star, it's not always the 5-star that you want to get. I think that sucks when they do that. Hang on a sec. There we go. I think that's better. Yeah, like the 50/50 in Wua or Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, where every so many pulls you're guaranteed a 5 star, but it may not be the 5 star in the banner. It's like with Nikke, I've had several times where like I'd pull. God, I think the guarantee is like every 60 pulls or something. I don't remember what the guarantee is, but you get a 5 star. And I've done like 200 pulls, and I never once got the character that I was trying to pull for. Same with Genshin. I once tried to get Farina, and I think I did like 120 pulls. And I got 2 5 stars out of it. I think I actually had 3 5 stars out of it, but none of them were Farina. Yeah, I like that you just trade them in the shop. Like you basically buy a body almost. Which I did for Rappi. Rappi Red Hood, I had to get her from the shop. I got her 3 times from the shop because I pulled so many times I had enough to buy 3 of her. Well, Sam, I said, what about it? I am leaving the Shire as soon as I can. In fact, I have made up my mind now, not even to wait a day at Crick Hollow, if it can be helped. Very good, sir. You still mean to come with me? I do. It is going to be very dangerous, Sam. It is already dangerous. Most likely, neither of us will come back. If you don't come back, sir, then I shan't. That's certain, said Sam. Don't you leave him, they said to me. Leave him, I said. I never mean to. I am going with him. If he climbs to the moon, and if any of those black riders try to stop him, they'll have Sam Gamgee to reckon with, I said. They laughed. Who are they? And what are you talking about? The elves, sir. We had some talk last night, and they seemed to know you were going away, so I didn't see the use of denying it. Wonderful folk, elves, sir. Wonderful. They are, said Frodo. Do you like them still? Now you have had a closer view. They seem a bit above my likes and dislikes, so to speak, answered Sam slowly. It don't seem to matter what I think about them. They are quite different from what I expected. So old and young. So gay and sad, as it were. Frodo looked at Sam, rather startled, half expecting to see some outward sign of the odd change that seemed to have come over him. It did not sound like the voice of the old Sam Gamgee that he thought he knew, but it looked like the old Sam Gamgee sitting there, except that his face was unusually thoughtful. I never played the Princess Connect games, though I've certainly heard of them. And I think older gacha games especially are really bad when it comes to pity. Like FGO was one of the OGs. I think the OG was actually Fire Emblem, and Fire Emblem was just complete ass. They didn't even have pity. Do you feel any need to leave the Shire now? Now that your wish to see them has come true already? He asked. Yes, sir. I don't know how to say it, but after last night, I feel... different. I seem to see ahead, in a kind of way. I know we are going to take a very long road. Darkness. But I know I can't turn back. It isn't to see elves now, dragons, nor mountains that I want. I don't rightly know what I want, but I have something to do before the end. It lies ahead, not in the Shire. Must see it through, sir, if you understand me. I don't altogether, but I understand that Gandalf chose me a good companion. I am content. We will go together. Frodo finished his breakfast in silence. Then, standing up, he looked over the land ahead and called to Pippin. I didn't know Crunchyroll even had that. All ready to start. Oh, all ready to start, he said as Pippin ran up. We must be getting off at once. We slept late, and there are a good many miles to go. You slept late, you mean, said Pippin. I was up long before, and we are only waiting for you to finish eating and thinking. I have finished both now, and I am going to make for Buckleberry Ferry as quickly as possible. I am not going out of the way, back to the road we left last night. I am going to cut straight across country from here. You are going to fly, said Pippin. You won't cut straight on foot anywhere in this country. We can cut straighter than the road anyway, answered Frodo. The ferry is east from Wood Hall, but the hard road curves away to the left. You can see a bend of it away north over there. It goes round the north end of the marsh so as to strike the causeway from the bridge above Stock. But that is miles out of the way. We could save a quarter of the distance if we made a line for the ferry from where we stand. Shortcuts make long delays, argued Pippin. The country is rough round here. There are bogs and all kinds of difficulties down in the marsh. I know the land in these parts, and if you are worrying about black riders, I can't see that it is any worse than meeting them on a road than in a wood or a field. Now that does not surprise me. Crunchyroll is an extremely greedy company. Like, they recently just bumped up their prices to use them. And I know a lot of people are probably going to cancel their membership now. It's less easy to find people in the woods and fields, answered Frodo. And if you are supposed to be on the road, there is some chance that you will be looked for on the road and not off it. All right, said Pippin. I will follow you into every bog and ditch. It is hard. I had counted on passing the Golden Perch at Stock before sundown. The best beer in the East Farthing, or it used to be. It's a long time since I tasted it. That settles it, said Frodo. Shortcuts make delays, but inns make longer ones. At all costs, we must keep you away from the Golden Perch. We want to get to Buckleberry before dark. What do you say, Sam? I will go along with you, Mr. Frodo, said Sam, in spite of private misgivings and a deep regret for the best beer in the East Farthing. And if we are going to toil through bog and briar, let's go now, said Pippin. The DMM one, which one's that? It was already nearly as hot as it had been the day before, but clouds were beginning to come up from the west. Oh, give me a second, you guys. I think someone's knocking on my door. Alright, I am back. I apologize for disappearing. I actually have a cleaner coming over today. I completely forgot about it. So, I didn't realize she's been knocking on my door for like a full ass minute. I feel so bad because I left her outside without realizing it. Hang on. Ah! Ooh. Hang on. I think I can do, if I do. Alright, I think that will work. And then maybe I can turn this down right here. It's gonna cost your life. I don't get it. I don't get it. It is like a roller. Yeah, I didn't see that one. I don't know why. I don't have, like, I can see you said roller coaster right there, so I don't know what happened. I don't think I've got a Nightbot that, or a bot that blocks that particular word. So just a weird Twitter thing, I guess. Alright, where am I? Where was I? It might be a bug. I know they are a thing. Twitch, right, Twitch. Ha, Twitter. I think I default to Twitter when it comes to social media because that's just what I use a lot. So I always think, oh, it's Twitter. Even though... So, Twitch seems kind of buggy to me anyways. Like, I'm constantly getting disconnected, so that makes sense. Right, where was I? It was already nearly as hot as it had been the day before. But clouds were beginning to come up from the west. It looked likely rain. The hobbits scrambled down a steep green bank and plunged into thick trees below. Their course had been chosen, to leave Wood Hall to their left, and to cut slanting through the woods that clustered along the eastern side of the hills, until they reached flats beyond. Then they could make straight for the ferry, over the country that was open, except for a few ditches and fences. Frodo reckoned they had 18 miles to go in a straight line. He soon found that the thicket was closer and more tangled than it had appeared. There were no paths in the and they did not get on fast. When they had struggled to the bottom of the bank, they found a stream running down the hills behind in a deeply dug bed with steep, slippery sides overhung with brambles. Most inconveniently, it cut across the line they had chosen. They could not jump over it, nor indeed get across it at all without getting wet, scratched, and muddy. They halted, wondering what to do. First check, said Pippin, smiling grimly. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear. I've got someone here. Sam Gamgee looked back. Through an opening in the trees, he caught a glimpse of the top of the green bank from which they had climbed down. Look, he said, clutching Frodo by the arm. They all looked, and on the edge high above them they saw against the sky a horse standing. Beside it stooped a black figure. They at once gave up any idea of going back. Frodo led the way, and plunged quickly in thick bushes beside the stream. Whew, he said to Pippin. We're both right. The shortcut has gone crooked already, but we got under cover only just in time. Got sharp ears, Sam. Can you hear anything coming? They stood still, holding their breath as they listened, but there was no sound of pursuit. Fancy he would try bringing his horse down that bank, said Sam. But I guess he knows we came down it. Going on was not altogether easy. They had packs to carry, and the bushes and brambles reluctant grew. They were cut off from the wind by the ridge behind, and the air was still, stuffy. When they forced their way at last into more open ground, they were hot and tired, very scratched. And they were also no longer certain of the direction in which they were going. The banks of the stream sank as it reached the levels and became broader and shallower, wandering off toward the Marish and the river. Why, it's Stockbrook. We are going to try and get back onto our course. Let's cross it once and bear right. They waded the stream and hurried over a wide, open space, rush-grown and treeless, farther south. Beyond that, they came again to a belt of trees, tall oaks, for the most part, with here and there an elm tree or an ash. The ground was fairly level. There was little undergrowth. The trees were too close for them to see far ahead. The leaves blew upward in sudden gusts of wind, and spots of rain began to fall from the overcast sky. Then the wind died away, and the rain, streaming down. They trudged along as fast as they could, over patches of grass, through thick drifts of old leaves. All about them the rain pattered and trickled. They did not talk, but kept glancing back, side to side. After an hour, Pippin said, "We have not turned too much toward the south. Are we not walking longwise? Wood? Not a very broad belt. Should have said no more than a mile at the widest. We ought to have been through it by now. It is no good our starting to go in zigzags. That won't mend matters. Let us keep on as we are going. I am not sure that I want to come out into the open yet." Is my cat in the living room? They went on for perhaps another couple of miles. Then the sun gleamed out of ragged clouds again, and the rain lessened. It was now past midday, and they felt it was high time for lunch. They halted under an elm tree. Its leaves, though fast turning yellow, were still thick, and the ground at its feet was fairly dry and sheltered. When they came to make their meal, they found that the elves had filled their bottles with a clear drink, pale golden in color. It had the scent of a honey made of many flowers, and was wonderfully refreshing. Very soon they were laughing, snapping their fingers at rain, and at black riders. The last few miles, they felt, would soon be behind them. Frodo propped his back against the tree trunk and closed his eyes. Sam and Pippin sat near, and they began to hum, and then to sing softly. "Ho, ho, ho, to the bottle I go, head my heart and drown my woe. Rain may fall and wind may blow, and many miles be still to go. But under a tall tree I lie, let the clouds go sailing by." "Ho, ho, ho," he began again, louder. They stopped short suddenly. Frodo sprang to his feet. A long-drawn wail came down the wind, like the cry of some evil and lonely creature. It rose and fell, and ended on a high, piercing note. Even as they sat and stood, as if suddenly frozen, it was answered by another cry, fainter and farther off, but no less chilling to the blood. There was then a silence, broken only by the sound of the wind in the leaves. "I think that was," at last, trying to speak lightly, but quivering a little. "It was a bird. It was one that I never heard in the Shire before." "It was not a bird or beast," said Frodo. "It was a call, or a signal. There were words in that cry, though I could not catch them. but no hobbit has such a voice. No more was said about it. They were all thinking of the riders, but no one spoke of them. They were now reluctant either to stay or go on, but sooner or later they had to get across the open country to the ferry, and it was best to go sooner and in daylight. In a few moments, they had shouldered their packs and were off again. Alright, give me just a moment to get a quick drink. I'm gonna take this. I need some water. So, I'm not much of a talker, as you know, like, even, Yoda, you'll know, but when I do, streaming, usually, I'm only really responding, and I'm rarely ever actually saying anything. So, but this is probably good for me to work out my voice. One thing I will say is I do think a lot of people should begin reading more. And not necessarily to learn or like self-improvement, like, you know, a lot of guys read like self-help books, get rich quick books, and I guess like there's nothing inherently wrong with those, but I think we have stigmatized reading for pleasure, and now everything's got to be done for a purpose, and I think that's kind of sad. But that's actually one of the reasons I am reading this, because I love Lord of the Rings, and I'm kind of hoping that some people see me reading and maybe decide to pick it up themselves, or, you know, even just pick up a book that looks interesting to them, 'cause they saw this and like, oh, that seems kind of fun. Before long, the wood came to a sudden end. Wide grasslands stretched before them. They now saw that they had, in fact, turned too much to the south. Away over the flats they could glimpse the low hill of Buckleberry across the river, but it was now to their left. Creeping cautiously out from the edge of the trees, they set off across the open as quickly as they could. At first they felt afraid, away from the shelter of the wood. Far back behind them stood the high place where they had breakfasted. Frodo half expected to see the small distant figure of a horseman on the ridge, dark against the sky, but there was no sign of one. The sun, escaping from the breaking clouds, as it sank towards the hills they had left, was now shining brightly again. Their fear left them, though they still felt uneasy. But the land had become steadily more tame and well-ordered. Soon, they came into well-tended fields and meadows. There were hedges and gates and dikes for drainage. Everything seemed quiet and peaceful, just an ordinary corner of the Shire. Their spirits rose with every step. The line, the river, grew nearer, and the Black Riders began to seem like phantoms of the woods now left far behind. They passed along the edge of a huge turnip field and came to a front stout gate. Beyond it, a rutted lane ran between low, well-laid hedges towards a distant clump of trees. Pippin stopped. "I know these fields and this gate," he said. "This is Bamfurlong, old Farmer Maggot's land. That's his farm away there in the trees." "One trouble after another," said Frodo, looking nearly as much alarmed as if Pippin had declared the lane was the slot leading to a dragon's den. The others looked at him in surprise. "What's wrong with old Maggot?" asked Pippin. "He's a good friend." "To all the Brandybucks. Of course he's a terror to trespassers. Keeps ferocious dogs. But after all, folk down here are near the border. Have to be more on their guard." "I know," said Frodo. "But all the same," he added with a shamefaced laugh, "I am terrified of him and his dogs. I have avoided his farm for years and years. Caught me several times trespassing after mushrooms. When I was younger, at Brandy Hall. On the last occasion he beat me, and then took me and showed me to his dogs. See, lads, he said, next time this young vermin sets foot on my land, you can eat him. See him off. They chased me all the way to the ferry. I have never gotten over the fright, though I dare say the beasts knew their business, and would not really have touched me. Pippin laughed. Well, it's time you made it up. Especially if you are coming back to live in Buckland. Old Maggot is a really stout fellow, if you leave his mushrooms alone. Let's get into the lane, and then we shan't be trespassing. If we meet him, I'll do the talking. He's a friend of Mary's, and I used to come here with him a good deal at one time. They went along the lane until they saw the thatched roof of a large house and farm buildings peeping out among the trees ahead. The Maggots and the Puttyfoots of Stock, and most of the inhabitants of the Marish, were house dwellers, and this farm was stoutly built of brick and had a high wall all around it. There was a wide wooden gate opening out of the wall. Suddenly, as they drew nearer, a terrific baying and barking broke out, and a loud voice was heard shouting, "Whip, Fang, Wolf, come on, lads!" Frodo and Sam stopped dead, but Pippin walked on a few paces. The gate opened, and 3 huge dogs came pelting out into the lane, dashed toward the travelers, barking fiercely. They took no notice of Pippin, but Sam shrank against the wall, while 2 wolfish-looking dogs sniffed at him suspiciously, and snarled if he moved. The largest and most ferocious of the 3 halted in front of Frodo, bristling and growling. Through the gate there now appeared a broad, thick-set hobbit with a round, red face. "Oh, hello, and who might you be? And what may you be wantin'?" he asked. "Good afternoon, Mr. Maggot." The farmer looked at him closely. "Well, if it isn't Master Pippin, Mr. Peregrine Took, I should say," he cried, changing from a scowl to a grin. "It's a long time since I saw you round here. For you that I know you. Was just going out to set my dogs on any strangers. Some funny things going on today. Of course, we do get queer folk wandering in these parts at times. Too near the river," he said, shaking his head. "This fellow was the most outlandish I have ever set eyes on. Won't cross my land without leave a second time. Not if I can stop it." "What fellow do you mean?" asked Pippin. "You haven't seen him?" said the farmer. "He went up the lane toward the causeway not a long while back. He was a funny customer and asking funny questions. But perhaps you'll come along inside. We'll pass the news more comfortable. I have a drop of good ale on tap, if you and your friends are willing, Mr. Took." It seemed plain that the farmer would tell them more, if allowed to do it on his own time and fashion, so they all accepted the invitation. "What about the dogs?" asked Frodo anxiously. The farmer laughed. "They won't harm you, not unless I tell them to. Here, Grip, Fang, heel!" he cried. "Heel, Wolf!" To the relief of Frodo and Sam, the dogs walked away and let them go free. Pippin introduced the other 2 to the farmer. "Mr. Frodo Baggins," he said. "You may not remember him, but he used to live at Brandy Hall." At the name Baggins, the farmer started and gave Frodo a sharp glance. For a moment Frodo thought that the memory of stolen mushrooms had been aroused, and that the dogs would be told to see him off. But Farmer Maggot took him by the arm. "Well, if that isn't queerer than ever," he exclaimed. "Mr. Baggins, is it? Come inside. Must have a talk." They went into the farmer's kitchen and sat by the wide fireplace. Mrs. Maggot brought out beer in a huge jug and filled 4 large mugs. It was a good brew, and Pippin found himself more than compensated for missing the golden perch. Sam sipped his beer suspiciously. He had a natural mistrust of the inhabitants of the other parts of the Shire, and also he was not disposed to be quick friends with anyone who had beaten his master, however long ago. After a few remarks about the weather, the agricultural prospects, which were no worse than usual, Farmer Maggot put down his mug and looked at them all in turn. "Now, Mr. Peregrine," he said, "where might you be coming from? And where might you be going to? Were you coming to visit me? Or if so, you had gone past my gate without my seeing you." "Well, no," answered Pippin. "To tell you the truth, since you have guessed it, we got into the lane from the other end. We had come over your fields, but that was quite by accident. Lost our way in the woods, back near Woodhull, trying to take a shortcut to the ferry." "If you were in a hurry, the road would have served you better," said the farmer. "I wasn't worrying about that. You have leave to walk over my land, if you have a mind, Mr. Peregrine. And you, Mr. Baggins, I dare say you still like mushrooms," laughed. "Ah, yes, I remember the name. I recollect the time when young Frodo Baggins was one of the worst young rascals of Buckland. But it wasn't mushrooms I was thinking of. Just heard the name Baggins before you turned up. What do you think that funny customer asked me?" They waited anxiously for him to go on. "Well," the farmer continued, approaching his point with slow relish. "Hey, you." "Yeah." Cat came back. "Give me a sec." "Dyke, you coming up?" "Oh, yeah." "Dyke, you gonna come up here?" "Dyke." I have no idea what this guy even wants with me anymore. Trying to get him up is so hard right now. Not necessarily, obedient at the moment. It's actually been causing me quite a bit of problems. Not responding, so I'm just gonna, yes. How's the audio, by the way? Can you guys hear me just fine? They waited anxiously for him to go on. "Well," the farmer continued, approaching his point with slow relish, "he came riding on a big black horse in the gates, which happened to be open, and right up to my door. All black he was himself, too, cloaked and hooded up, as if he did not want to be known. Now what in the Shire can he want, I thought to myself. You don't see many of the big folk over the border, and anyway, I had never heard of any like this black fellow. 'Day to you,' I says, going. This lane don't lead anywhere. Wherever you may be going, your quickest way will be back to the road.' I didn't like the looks of him. When Grip came out, he took one sniff and let out a yelp. He had been stung. Put down his tail and bolted off howling. The black fellow sat quite tall. 'Yonder,' he said, slow, stiff-like, pointing back west over my fields, if you please. 'You seen Baggins?' he asked in a queer voice and bent down toward me. I could not see any face, for his hood fell down so low that I felt a sort of shiver down my back. But I did not see why he should come riding over my land so bold. "Be off," I said. "There are no Bagginsons here. We're in the wrong part of the Shire. You'd better go back west to Hobbiton. But you can go by the road this time." "Baggins has left," in a whisper. "He is coming. He is not far away. Wish to find him. Passes, will you tell me? Back with gold." "You won't," he said. I said. "You'll go back where you belong, double quick. Give you 1 minute before I call all my dogs." He gave a sort of hiss. Might have been laughing, and it might not. Then he spurred his great horse right at me, and I jumped out of the way only just in time. Dogs, but he swung off, rode through the gates and up the lane toward the causeway like a bolt of thunder. Think of that. Frodo sat for a moment. Fire. But his only thought was how on earth they reached the ferry. "To think," he said at last. "I'll tell you what to think," said Maggot. "You should never have gone mixing yourself up with Hobbiton folk, Mr. Frodo. Folks are queer up there." Sam stirred in his chair and looked at the farmer with an unfriendly eye. "You were always a reckless lad. When I heard you had left the Brandybucks and gone off to that old Mr. Bilbo, I said that you were going to find trouble. Mark my words, it all comes down to those strange doings of Mr. Bilbo's. His money was got in some strange fashion in some foreign parts, they say. Maybe there is some that want to know what has become of the gold and jewels buried in the hills of Hobbiton, as I hear." Frodo said nothing. The shrewd guesses of the farmer were rather disconcerting. "Well, Mr. Frodo?" On. "Glad that you've had the sense to come back to Buckland. My advice is, stay there, and don't get mixed up with these outlandish folk. You'll have friends in these parts. Any of these black fellows come after you again, I'll deal with them. I'll say you're dead or have left the Shire, or anything you like. That might be true enough, for as like as not it is old Mr. Bilbo they want news of." "Maybe you're right," said Frodo, avoiding the farmer's eye and staring at the fire. Maggot looked at him thoughtfully. "Well, I see you have ideas of your own," he said. "It is as plain as my nose that no accident brought you rider here on the same afternoon. And maybe my news was no great news to you after all. I am not asking you to tell me anything you have a mind to keep to yourself. I see you are in some kind of trouble. Perhaps you are thinking it too easy to get to the ferry without being caught?" "I was thinking so," said Frodo. But we have got to try and get there. And it won't be done by sitting and thinking. So I'm afraid we must be going. Thank you very much indeed for your kindness. I have been a terror to you and your dogs for over 30 years. Farmer Maggot, though you may laugh to hear it, it's a pity. For I have missed a good friend. Now I'm sorry to leave so soon. But I'll come back, perhaps, one day, if I get the chance." Hang on just a sec. Take this. Put it over here. Just in case he wants to go in. Oof. "Be welcome when you come," said said Maggot. "Now I have a notion. It's near sundown already. We are going to have our supper, for we mostly go to bed soon after the sun. Mr. Peregrine and all could stay and have a bite with us, would be pleased." And so should we, said Frodo. But we must be going at once, I'm afraid. Even now it will be dark before we can reach the ferry. Ah, but wait a minute. I'm going to say, after a bit of supper, I'll get out a small wagon. I'll drive you all to the ferry. That will save you a good step, and it might also save you trouble of another sort. Frodo now accepted the invitation gratefully, to the relief of Pippin and Sam. The sun was already behind the western hills, and the light, was failing. Two of Maggot's sons and his 3 daughters came in, and a generous supper was laid on the large table. The kitchen was lit with candles, and the fire was mended. Mrs. Maggot bustled in and out. 1 or 2 other hobbits belonging to the farm household came in. In a short while, 14 sat down to eat. There was beer in plenty, and a mighty dish of mushrooms and bacon, besides much other solid farmhouse fare. The dogs lay by the fire, and gnawed rinds and cracked bones. When they had finished, the farmer and his son went out with a lantern and got the wagon ready. It was dark in the yard when the guests came out. They threw their packs on board and climbed in. The farmer sat in the driver's seat and whipped up his 2 stout ponies. His wife stood in the light of the open door. "You be careful of yourself, Maggot," called. "Don't go arguing with any foreigners and come straight back." "I will," he said. Drove out the gate. There was now no breath of wind stirring. The night was still, quiet, and a chill was in the air. They went without lights and took it slowly. After a mile or 2, the lane came to an end, crossing a deep dike and climbing a short slope up onto the high-banked causeway. Maggot got down and took a good look either way, north and south, but nothing could be seen in the darkness, and there was not a sound in still air. Thin strands of river mist hanging above the dikes and crawling fields. "It's going to be thick," said Maggot. "I'll not light my lanterns till I turn for home. We'll hear anything on the road long before we meet it tonight." It was 5 miles or more from Maggot's Lane to the ferry. The hobbits wrapped themselves up, but their own ears were strained for any sound above the creak of the wheels and the slow clop of the hooves. The wagon seemed slower than a snail to Frodo. Beside him, Pippin was nodding towards sleep. Sam was staring forwards, rising fog. They reached the entrance to the ferry lane at last. It was marked by 2 tall white posts that suddenly loomed up on their right. Farmer Maggot drew in his ponies, and the wagon creaked to a halt. They were just beginning to scramble out when suddenly they heard what they had all been dreading. Hooves on the road. The sound was coming towards them. Maggot jumped down and stood holding the ponies' heads and peering forward into the gloom. Up, up came the approaching rider. The fall of the hooves sounded loud in the still foggy air. "Better be hidden, Mr. Frodo," said Sam anxiously. "You get down the wagon and cover up with blankets, and we'll send this rider to the right-abouts." He climbed out and went to the farmer's side. Black riders would have to ride over him. Wagon. Up Clip-clop. The rider was nearly on them. "Hello there," called Farmer Maggot. The advancing hoof stopped short. They thought they could dimly guess a dark, cloaked shape mist a yard or two ahead. "Now then," said the farmer, throwing the reins to Sam and striding forward. "Come a step nearer. What do you want? Where are you going?" "It's Mr. Baggins. You seen him?" said a muffled voice. But the voice was the voice of Mary Brandybuck. A dark lantern was uncovered, and its light fell on the astonished face of the farmer. "Mr. Mary!" he cried. "Yes, of course. Who did you think it was?" said Mary, coming forward. As he came out of the mist and their fears subsided, he seemed suddenly to diminish to ordinary hobbit size. He was riding a pony, and a scarf was swathed around his neck and over his chin to keep out the fog. Frodo sprang out of the wagon to greet him. "So there you are at last," said Mary. "I was beginning to wonder if you would turn up at all today. Just going back to supper. Grew foggy, I came across and rode upwards toward Stock to see if you had fallen in any ditches. But I am blessed if I know which way you have come." "Where did you find them, Mr. Maggot? Your duck pond?" "No, I'm trespassing," said the farmer, "and nearly set my dogs on 'em. They'll tell you all the story, I've no doubt. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Mary, and Mr. Frodo and all, I'd best be turning for home. Mrs. Maggot will be waiting with the night getting thick." He backed the wagon into the lane and turned it. "Well, good night to you all," he said. "It's been a queer day, and make no mistake. But all is well that ends well enough. Perhaps we should not say that until we each reach our own doors. Not deny that I'll be glad now when I do." He lit his lanterns and got up. Suddenly, he produced a large basket seat. "Nearly forgot. I was nearly forgetting," he said. "Mrs. Maggot put this up for Mr. Baggins, with her compliments." Handed it down and moved off, following a chorus of chuckles, chorus of thanks and good nights. They watched the pale ring of light round his lantern as they dwindled into the foggy night. Suddenly Frodo laughed. The covered basket he held, scent of mushrooms, was rising. So, and that is it for this chapter of The Lord of the Rings. I'm fairly certain. Yes, it is. Yep. So the next chapter will be chapter 4, which we will be doing next Wednesday. All right, this was a kind of a fast stream. Since I actually have my my cleaner here, it's probably a good idea to make the stream a little shorter than usual anyways. But since we are doing this and the stream was pretty quick, I hope you don't mind if I hand you guys off to someone. Cancel that, and we'll go on to Twitch. Let's see who's here. I'm gonna assume you guys want some Wuthering Waves.
Play the quest? I do. Certainly do.
I think most of the people watching are on Twitch anyways.
Kelsey had a sub goal.
Yeah, someone working out.
Keep your hands on this, okay? Ellen, Chad's gonna cheer you on. They're gonna be so excited. Keep your hands.
I don't think they're cheering me on. They're laughing at me.
Well,
That's such a weird thing to see people live streaming exercise, but let's do Wuthering Waves. Who is streaming Wuthering Waves? An error has occurred. Oh, nope, here we go. Here we go. So, take this person and Hina Suta. So I think what I do, not it, channel. I think what I need to do, raid channel. I think what I need to do, raid channel. I think what I need to do, Hina Suta. Hina. Does that work? Suta.
Hello, Rocky.
Does
Good
that work?
day. It was good for you. Good day, chat. Hello, Rocky. Welcome in.
One viewer. Where are my other viewers on?
Yes, Duo loves it.
One viewer. Where are my other viewers on? Hey.
I hope I don't. Oh,
Here we go.
Brandon. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Hello. Thank you for trying to shout them out. Sorry, have it. No, you're good, Rocky. You're good. I got that. I don't think any of my mods are in right now. Brandon, how was your stream? What were you playing? Welcome in. Hey, a raid is a raid. I appreciate it a lot. Oh, you were reading Lord of the Rings. It's fire. Like, why it was just one person? Oh no, you're fine. I don't mind whether it was like one or none. It don't matter. Raid is a raid, so I really appreciate it from you. I hope you had a great time reading Lord of the Rings. I watched Lord of the Rings. Really good. Oh, you play Lula? Nice. Did you get iMyth yet? I have her just need her weapon. Ooh. Best of luck with the weapon pools. I got her weapon and her as well. I low-key kind of want Lupa's weapon, but I probably won't go for it because I'm trying to save for Luke.
Alright, guys, I'm gonna end my stream so that we can focus on her stream.